Hello, everybody, and welcome to that podcast show. We've got Keith's horrible face in front of us.
It's pretty bad, guys. I do apologize. There's not a whole lot I can do about it.
If only you could look like this.
And
we've got Alessio who still won't show his face.
It's because Alessio doesn't wear clothes. And this
is that the case, Alessio?
Yeah.
Are you naked?
He is, and we gotta keep it family friendly, or else we'll get kicked off the tubes.
Filthy animal.
But if you're listening to the audio podcast, just imagine Fabio sitting there in the
show me the moobs.
Hey, we're supposed to be recording a podcast. What are we talking about again today?
We're going to take. Well, I'm going to take the piss out of Warner Brothers, and then we're going to talk about different video game stuff. Sony, they've released a game. Well, they're releasing a game on Xbox Game Pass, which is surprising, and they've also completely shut down PS3 and Vita support. Apparently, Outriders is shit. That's something Alessio can tell us about. And Alan Wake 2 is coming. Yay! Alan Wake 2. And then see how long it takes, but we might be talking about how everybody's buying everybody else still. But the first thing is Warner Brothers. They had one game left.
Just one, and it was easy.
The past two podcasts I've just been saying they're delaying everything. I mean, they've delayed everything now. Everything is delayed. The new delay, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. And so...
And this one doesn't even have a new release date or year. It's just definite. So
it had already been delayed from last year to this year. And now it's been delayed from this year till never.
You know what? Disney could learn something from this. Because the films that this one's based off of probably should have been delayed indefinitely.
I mean, everyone these days, when a game comes out and it's not as good as everyone hoped, it's like, they should have delayed it. I mean, Warner Bros. Is doing just that.
I don't know if that's the reason why they're delaying everything. I think they're falling apart.
Well, there's that, but you can't help but wonder if some of these people aren't also looking at what's happening with the latest releases. If anything is out of whack, and to go back to the fact that more people are gaming than ever before, and a lot of people aren't used to the fact that things just aren't perfect. As much as we love gaming and that's our thing that we do, things just aren't perfect. We do.
I hate games.
Shut up. You don't work for Kotaku.
Ooh. So one.
Catch your breath.
Oh, God. So Warner Brothers has delayed everything. So we knew about Gotham Knights. Hogwarts is delayed. Left 4 Dead 10 with blood is gone, and now it's Skywalker Saga in Lego.
To be fair, Back 4 Blood, which is Left 4 Dead 10 in Chris's lingo.
I don't know. To be fair, it might be Left 4 Blood 10. No, I don't fucking know. It's all the same.
Well, anyway, it's still scheduled for October, so we'll see if it.
But that's after a delay. And it'll get delayed again. I might see it by the time I die.
Yeah, it'll get up there and they're, oh, well, we're going to hold off until November 15th.
I'm going to say it'll be on the PS20, that game.
They'll blame the next-gen consoles.
I wish developers would just, announce games when they're much closer to release date.
Alessio, you're 100% right. That would eliminate so much. They try to build hype up so far out, and the truth is, let's be honest, guys. Is it? What are people supposed to do? They're like, oh, that's cool. The game comes out next year. So what? I don't buy other games until then.
Yeah,
no.
It doesn't work like that. The hype train's gone too far.
The idea that these people are competing with everyone is absurd, because the only people they're competing with is if somebody's making the same type of game and they're launching at the same time.
I don't completely agree with that. in reality, games are competing with other games and with every single piece of entertainment medium, but they're competing with things that are releasing around the same time.
That's what I was going to
That's all it
say.
is.
It's
Yeah.
almost like they're trying to lock in that time frame to keep other people from wanting to launch games at that time.
That does work. That has worked before. So games have been delayed because of the release of other games. You look around
Yeah.
you look around when Call of Duty releases, and get other companies avoid that like the plague.
You mean like
When
because then what happens if you don't? You end up like Titanfall 2, which was a superior game to that year's Call of Duty by a long shot, and then you get neglected because
Yeah, my thoughts on that are simple. My thoughts are literally
that was intentional.
Yeah, that was intentional. EA sabotaged Respawn. It was Respawn, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And Titanfall
Yeah.
2 is still one of the greatest shooters of
EA
that
sabotaged
generation.
it. They released Battlefield, then in between Battlefield and Call of Duty, they released Titanfall 2. And it's like, you do realize just because one's got mechs in it doesn't mean they're not shooters. It doesn't mean that people.
But again, like I said,
Sabotage.
similar games. They are genuinely competing. But like RPG games and shooter games, they're very different audiences.
Yeah,
they do
they are
overlap.
different
There is an overlap. I'm not saying that, just because you play a shooter, you're not going to play an RPG, because that's insane. But
yeah,
I guess that's what they're doing, is they're trying to lock in these windows, and then as they get closer, they're like, maybe we can't make that. Maybe we have to push it back. And so
yeah, there's always iffy things, and I think games need to start releasing all the way through the year, because the summer months,
it's a drought. It's so bad.
Always.
It's so, look, and I get it. They don't want to compete because it's summer. Because historically, you spoke to it. You're competing with other markets such as film, so the cinemas, Hollywood blockbusters. The summer is usually when they take off. People are rushing out to theaters through the summer. I mean, I get it. The whatever's going on, barring all that, historically speaking. So the summers, and they usually hold the big press conferences in June for E3, and that's kind of your big hyping up for the holiday season, because and it is changing, because we have moved away from the core audience of gaming being kids waiting for their parents to buy them games for Christmas, to being professionals
who somehow had kids.
I resemble that remark. but the truth is, the core audience of gamers, and you guys know this, Alessio, you've seen the numbers, the age range for the chunk of gamers is mid-20s to mid-30s. It's like 25 to 40 is like the heaviest group of gamers. And I don't care how many Zoomers are playing Fortnite, they don't outnumber the rest of us who are actually buying games.
To be fair, I think it's getting better, in the recent couple of years or so. We've seen a lot of interesting releases between June and August, especially.
So that's what I'm saying. The market is shifting.
Yeah. The driest month, as always, is July, but that's because, in our hemisphere at least, it's by far the hottest month. So
it's after E3 and before Gamescom as well.
Yeah. It's kind of the quiet. I always say, July is a good catch up. But I mean, backing up with all these delays, I've been able to catch up on so many games in my back catalog that it's actually been kind of fun. So I'm not necessarily upset about it, but at the same time,
So speaking of interesting releases, I think you can talk to us about what's this game that's failing miserably, Alessio?
Well, it is a bit more complicated than that, but it's
failing miserably.
Outriders, basically the latest in a long series of looter shooter games. It's made by People Can Fly, which are the developers of Painkiller, back in the days.
Yeah, I love that game. Can Fly. I love Painkiller, Hell and Damnation. So I'm going to blame Square Enix on this.
Well,
I'm sure
anyway,
people from
like I
Play didn't
said,
want to make this.
it is. I mean, the main issue right now is other than a few bugs and crashes. For example, I had to roll back to the previous GeForce driver because otherwise the game just wouldn't launch for me. But other than that, it's just that as it happens with many online games, uh, servers have been overloaded for the past 2 days. Many
There can't be that
many
many people playing it.
It's actually had a really good
uh,
launch for numbers
Really?
yeah,
wise.
actually, it had
Hmm.
over 100K players on Steam, concurrent players. So it's I've read that it is the biggest launch of Square Enix on Steam so far.
Yeah,
So
I'm just having a look now. Yeah, so currently playing 75,000.
yeah, so
That's on Steam, and then
it's
109K
bad,
total peak.
but yeah, as in many other cases, I think the traditional online infrastructure is just not a good fit for launches. I mean, maybe
Or is it not just that the games companies are skimping out? They're planning for they're getting the server space for maybe 80K or 75K, and knowing full well that nearly every big game will sell at least 100K.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at historically, it has affected almost every game. I mean, even Diablo 3, if you recall.
Yeah, but
It,
that was just them being cheap bastards.
I mean, that game wasn't even playable for a couple of days by anyone.
I remember.
With Error 37. So it's.
I don't want to talk about it.
That was the last game I ever purchased by Activision Blizzard. The last time I ever gave them a single penny of my money.
I even took a day off for that.
The thing
Mug.
with Outriders is that the game is online only, so you cannot play it just like Diablo 3. You cannot play it single player offline. I mean, of course you can play it single player, but you still have to be online.
Mm-mm.
And on the other hand, they don't actually even have dedicated servers. It's peer to peer.
Really?
So because it's only 3 players in co-op.
So you're
that
literally
is-
just pinging their server for, you know, digital rights, and
Yeah.
and then you're having to hope that the people that you're playing with are all on a decent connection. Otherwise, you're pinging all over the place, and then whoever's hosting it, if they decide I'm done and they back out, now you're having
Just one child molesting moment. How it's peer to peer and there's server issues.
That's my other question. It sounds like their digital rights management, their DRM, is the problem, and not the actual networks.
Complete and utter bullshit.
I don't know. It's just that
Fucking nonsense.
And people gave them
anyway.
money.
Yeah, I mean, they should have definitely used dedicated servers.
They're gonna get sued, aren't they? We're gonna be sitting here next week talking about a class action lawsuit against Outriders, and People Can Fly because of this.
Putting that utter bullshit and nonsensical crap behind us, is the game any good?
I mean, it is pretty good. It's not great, but I think it is quite fun.
You're not sounding enthusiastic there. Let's go.
I mean, I'm not enthusiastic because I love open world games above all, and that is about the farthest thing from an open world game. I mean, it has like Gears of War style maps, so there is that.
It's Final Fantasy 13 levels of open world.
But I do think the combat system is pretty good. I do think the classes are interesting. They have nice powers that feel very cool, and also the loot system is quite interesting as well. They have structured it quite well, I think. So that is something in favor of the game, but they definitely have to sort through these server issues and performance issues as well. But yeah, ultimately, I don't see it as a huge online game that will keep players playing for, I don't know, months or years. But I do think it's a pretty good game. It's not a game as a service title, so everything you see is basically already there. Of course, they will make new content if players want it with the expansions and the like. But I think it's for the 30 hours or so of the campaign, and then you can replay it as well to get better items. I think it's pretty decent if you are into that sort of game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my time with it wasn't bad, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I just it felt very, wash, rinse, repeat compared to other games. Like you said, it felt like they took some of the things from Gears of War, and then basically the things that worked from several different games. They kind of threw it all in there, and the most. Is there an option to turn off the shaky cam in like the cutscenes? Because I couldn't get past that.
I think so. Maybe there is. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
it was like.
God.
At least it has DLSS, right, Kate?
Yeah, and
It
that is
doesn't
actually
matter it doesn't matter if it's got DLSS or bloody tray racing or God knows high definition nipple physics. If the camera's shaky and it's off-putting,
no, that's in the cutscenes, not like in the actual gameplay. But it is another, like you said, Alessio, it is another game. There's quite a few recently popping up that have DLSS in it, and it's been pretty quiet in a lot of these titles. It's just like there it is. It's almost becoming just part of, an option for games running on the Unreal Engine since they injected it into there. It's almost like if you're a developer and you're making the game, why not just put it there? It's there. It's an extra. Sure, it's a checkbox. I mean, you can treat it as that. Some of these games that are having it, it's just either off or on, but it's a great feature, and yeah, it needs to keep going.
Yeah, especially since maybe the newest GeForce series is in short supply still, but DLSS also works on the previous series, as you know well. So
stretches
it has
those
a
20
decent,
series legs.
yeah, it has a decent user base by now, people that can use it. So it's
Speaking
it's a
of
good thing.
things, I just DLSS and everything, and just made me think of Remedy, and because Remedy is on our topic list, I really want to talk about these guys.
You're going to say you've said Epic, so
Yeah.
And that's it. Alan Wake 2. It's going to be an Epic game, Epic exclusive.
I don't care where it's exclusive to. I'm gonna get it.
To be fair, I might replay Alan Wake again soon because I remember playing it when it first came out, back when I owned one of the Xboxes, and I enjoyed it.
Remedy games are their games and I have played Control 3 different times. I've played through every bit of DLC on the PC and gotten all.
Played it 0 times.
You see, and you're missing out because I've played through and I've done all the extra things. I even still load back into the game and wait for the random missions that happen, Alessio, and I just go do those and have fun with them. But I've played through probably 3/4 of the way on my Xbox, and then whenever the PlayStation Plus had it on there, I got it for the PlayStation and played through about halfway on there. But I played Quantum Break like 3 or 4 times, and Alan Wake a couple, even the American Nightmare one, where you technically each time you play it at least 3 times.
I'm curious why did Remedy break their rules? They went from Alan Wake to Quantum Break. They should have had something that rhymes.
Oh, Quantum Break needs a re-release, in my opinion. They need to redo the game with the Northlight. It's got the same. It's the Northlight engine, but redo it, add in all of the modern features, and make the game run
Okay.
better.
You never know. You
Wait,
might
wait.
see. You're seeing Alan Wake 2. You might see Quantum Break 2.
See, have you played through Quantum Break, Chris?
I think I have. I can't.
No.
That's
If you
the one with the Ashmores.
yes, but you could technically play through that game indefinitely. It doesn't need a sequel. It can be its own sequel.
Fair enough.
But I am. I hate the timeline that they put here in the next few years. But
But that goes back to the first thing we said. They've essentially announced something that might come out once when I need a second liver.
right. But the good thing here is Remedy is a very serial company in the sense that they do one project at a time. They really don't seem to roll into the next project until they've finished one. And while Quantum Break had performance issues back in the day, a lot of that was tied to, especially on PC, it was tied to the Windows Store. The fact that they went through, it was a UWP product, it went through the Windows Store.
Tomb Raider had a load of issues with
Yeah,
that as
it
well,
was.
didn't it?
Yeah, and
I
I
think
played
it
it.
was the first Xbox One game that Microsoft brought to PC, so it was still early days.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, they overbuilt it for the Xbox. Like they tried to get too much out of it. If they had pared it back and made it a little more simple in like the visuals department. And it was very ambitious. I mean, like they were really ambitious with that game as far as the fact that they had all the stars that were in it, and it was a split experience kind of thing where half the game was actually like a TV show that you were watching and playing,
Yeah.
and multiple timelines. And but Control launched and it ran great. The game was very relatively bug free. I said relatively because everybody's going to have found something.
Yeah, but every game's got some bugs somewhere.
But they publish on a AAA formula and delivery, but they still don't feel like a formulaic AAA game. Like each one of their games feels very unique. Like Quantum Break doesn't feel like Alan Wake, and Control doesn't feel like either one, but you can tell the DNA is there. Like the same studio is making it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the same underlying kind of supernatural setting or
Yes.
theme, if you will. So yeah, it's actually, Kate, they are kind of switching to multi-project.
Yeah.
Now with the latest funding, basically they are doing their own project on multiplayer called Vanguard, and also they have 2 games in development, as part of the Epic deal.
See, the thing is, it's like I know that like they talk of they're doing multiple projects, but I think every studio does multiple projects. It's just like it's the stage that they're in production. Like the majority of the company will be developing one game, whereas the upcoming games you'll have a few designers thinking, let's
Yeah.
jot down the
So-
shape of this character's shoe.
They're not going in parallel. They're going in like this one has finished the
Sequential.
whole this again, like take the designers. The designers are done with Alan Wake 2, so they're going to go ahead and start on the next project so that they're not waiting until everything's done to then start all over, and then there's like these gaps where they're not working. So that makes sense. But the concern is, what if one gets ahead of the other and now they're bumping up against each other?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
that's when you got programmers working on 2 different code with 2 different titles, and
Things go fucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they have both of these games that will be published by Epic are being built with their Northlight engine, so that's the same code base for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a great engine.
Yeah.
You know, it.
So, yeah. It's just weird seeing a game that's on the Epic Store as an exclusive there not being made in Unreal.
Right.
So
So
Epic are funding, really are funding the games. So yeah,
they've been a
fair
lot
play to
more flexible than I think a lot of people were expecting them to be. I personally
them.
I don't have an issue with the Epic Game Store or
I've
even
got
the
no issue in the
exclusivity.
slightest.
If I'm going to have an issue with exclusivity on Epic Game Store, I need to have one with Steam too for Outriders. That's the reason
Yeah.
it's on Game Pass on the Xbox but not on PC, is because of the Steam
Yeah.
exclusivity. So should we all get up in arms about that? I mean,
No. You're questioning the Stockholm syndrome now. Don't do it. I'll go for you.
You cannot question Gaben.
But yeah, so I think the last topic is all about Sony, because we're doing quite good on time. Sony, 3 different things. They're essentially, I mean, they're cancelling PS3 store support now, which is expected, and the Vita is dead as a dodo now.
was
And
it
then
ever
we've got-
alive?
I had a Vita.
I didn't
played
say
one
it.
game on it.
Yeah, I mean, you're the guy that forgot how to turn on your PlayStation 5, so you don't count.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's got no fucking games.
Let's go. This is why I'm perfectly happy with my PS4 still. So the PS3 store closing and the Vita store closing, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, what are we at?
It surprises me about the Vita store closing because,
Well, that's the only way you can get stuff for the Vita at this point. Like,
Yeah.
even if you try to find it on the used market, it's like, does it? But are they shutting down your ability to say, I've got my PS3, and what if I want to re-download a game that I purchased digitally?
I
Will I
think
still
it'll
be able to
still
do
be
that?
part of your account. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You
As
can.
long as
You can just forget about purchasing new digital copies of games.
that's
I find that
fine. I
strange.
mean, all things come to an end, I suppose. But I'm not too
so-
worked up over it. Maybe I should
It
be.
is a
Maybe I should be more
reminder-
angry.
It is a reminder, though, that with the digital age in games, you are really just renting stuff because it may not be there one day anymore. So,
Just, I mean,
I'm
for
sure there's
example,
laws there.
I've got a physical copy of Borderlands for PC, and I can't play it
How
because it has DRM, and they took the servers offline.
Yeah.
So if I go to install the game that I purchased physically, and it does a security check, it can't validate it, and therefore it's just a collector's item.
Surely you're able to just like email them saying,
No,
I want to play
I
the
tried.
game. What?
I tried. Back leading up to whenever they were going to give everybody that had that owned the games, they were giving them like an upgrade version or whatever. And I was like, well, I got the game and I've got the code, and they were like, no, sorry, there's nothing we can do about that.
That's shite.
And that's whenever I was like, this is garbage. And then I found the same thing with Crisis Warhead. I put it in, same thing. And I was like, because I found this whenever I've got an old computer that I built to play Windows XP games.
Yeah.
That don't work right on more modern operating systems.
Yeah.
And I love the system. It's so much fun to go back and play a lot of these old games in the original aspect ratio and everything on the original hardware at the time. But there were a lot of games that I had to swim out into the ocean and get because I couldn't verify my physical copy that I owned.
Yeah,
and that was really weird.
That sucks.
It does, but that's not really a thing with consoles unless you're trying to play Outriders in 15 years.
I don't think anybody will be playing Outriders in 15 months.
I was about to say 15 weeks is what I'm giving it. But
Yeah, probably it'll
but
last 15 weeks, but
I think the thing that you're going to get, Alessio, you said it right. This is a reminder of where we are in the market and how games work these days. You don't buy a copy, you're not buying a cartridge in the game of constantly connected and updates rolling through. You're at the mercy of them, which is why I don't think that games should go up in price because you don't own them.
yeah, it's a weird one because according to the EU, you do own them, but it's like, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Sony, like the ones you bought, you can still download because there'd be so many legal issues to go through them withholding things you paid for. But yeah, when it comes to online games and all that, there's so many
I mean, you
issues.
do own them, but you do not own, of course, the infrastructure they are
Yeah,
using.
that's the problem, yeah.
And I'm sure that's the argument that's made a lot. But there is
That's the
something
issue
really
with
cool
online
with
games.
Sony. And I know a lot of people here around me, like people that I actually know, that looked at this news, at the other part of the Sony news, and they were just kind of like, really? And that's
Yeah,
with the.
so
Tell us about it, Chris. What is this?
so yeah, Sony are releasing a game, one of their exclusives on the Game Pass, Major League Rounders. Since you like played the rubbish version of our game, so yeah, the baseball that's going to Xbox, and that makes sense to me. You're not going to see Horizon on the Game Pass, but baseball and the fact that Xbox tends to be, for lack of a better way to say it, tends to be the jock console. That's where the sports and the racings and the shit like that are. Where the PlayStation tends to be the more, real people gamers console.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can explain it.
I mean,
the mouth breathers buy the Xbox, the people who use the brains buy the PlayStation. And people who want both have both.
I mean, it's an interesting one. I think it is a lot of that is due to the real Major League Baseball pressure, I think, on Sony. Of course, they're making more money if they're selling the game on more platforms, right?
I don't know, because sometimes it's just a one-off license fee and that's it. So I don't know if they'll make more money from it or not. And also, Sony have had that license for
it's been a long time.
Decade.
It is interesting that basically almost every major sports game now is on Game Pass. It's it's a lot of stuff.
Well, here's the thing. We know that Game Pass, Microsoft pays it out based on the amount of time that you spend in that title, right? And people that play these sports games, that's their game. And I think a lot of them would rather just have a subscription to the game, and then because they buy the game, they buy all the stuff, and then when the next game comes out, they buy the new one, they throw that one out. And this, they could get that, and they got access to all the different sports games they like. And because I've found that these people that really enjoy the sports games don't really care for a lot of other games. Like, and that's not to say that people that like shooters can't like sports games, but most of the people that are lining up to buy the show or Madden, that's their game. That's the one they're going to spend their time in. So these guys, it makes sense to invest like that.
But one thing that Microsoft has always said about Game Pass is that they always see people that are subscribed to Game Pass starting to play other games, other genres that they didn't before. So maybe it is a good way to push these players to play other games, not just sports games.
Or to get other people that play other games to try the sports games. More so than the other way around.
Yeah.
It's great. And, maybe I mean, Phil Spencer in the past kind of opened up to possibly having Game Pass on other consoles as well. So, maybe one day it will be interesting. Maybe we'll see Microsoft's games on PS and Sony's games on Xbox.
It would be a nice future.
Be quite
And
interesting.
then everything comes to the PC on day one.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
The one system.
But that'll
No.
never happen because Microsoft will keep things exclusive to certain things exclusive. Sony will always keep them because they make money from selling games on the systems. That's just how it's always going to be. Unless they somehow teamed up and split the revenue 50-50 on a super console, what they both team up to make.
I think maybe the Microsoft Trojan horse in that
PlayStation box.
If Microsoft can get streaming to work well, eventually with 5G and xCloud, maybe Sony will be interested into taking that pie as well. Like if they can put their games on xCloud and access all of the mobile gaming audience via
It's a weird
streaming.
one with that because Sony tried that in the past with when they bought Gaikai. But they never really went all the way into it.
They don't have the resources. In fact, if you remember,
Yeah,
Sony
true.
kind of made a deal with Microsoft to access their Azure cloud. So.
Yeah. But I think that's everything from me.
I am good. There's nothing I have left to add.
Anything, Alessio?
I mean, there were a few acquisitions and investments, but
yeah, we can talk about that next week, I think, because I'm sure
maybe.
there'll be about 50 more by then.
Yeah, it's
We
been
should
a
have
while since.
we should have a segment as we wrap up every week is like this week in acquisitions. Actually, that would be really fun. Maybe the audience will let us know if that would be something fun.
I like it.
Just no, like as we take it out this week, so and so bought so and so. Yeah, I like that. Maybe we'll vote on it.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's everything then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
So what are you playing?
Me. Yeah, that's the finishing thing. Obviously, we need to finish what we're playing. So I've been playing Subverse, the big-breasted, sexy game. Even though there's out of 7 hours of playing it, there's been about 10 minutes of sex. I will be writing a preview, which may be online by the time this goes live. May not be, I don't know. And now I'm just playing an indie game dev studio, because why not? I don't know if I've got anything else to cover at the moment.
Is it porn Mass Effect or not?
At the moment, no, but it's a weird one. It's a mixture of a bullet hell shooter, a turn-based strategy game, and a visual novel. And like, it's got a big story and universe-spanning story, but at the moment, in the early access, there's only 6 chapters. I think it's 6 chapters available. And you know what? I've been laughing at the dialogue, and it's been amusing. Is it a great game? Probably not, but you know what? It's actually worth playing, if only for the comedy of it.
Have a good laugh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nothing
And if
wrong
you
with
want
that.
big bouncy alien tits,
They're there.
What about you, Kit? What do you play?
I am still playing through Final Fantasy VII Remake. And
good game.
Yeah, I'm still learning a little bit in Valheim, and I caught myself playing Cyberpunk again. So
I
haven't turned that on in so long.
Out for the PC version of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I'll be playing that when it comes on PC as well.
Originally I was like, I'll just play it on one, but I can see so many. I want to go back and see some of these places with full resolution textures and none of that TAA sparkle. I want to see it super crisp, and I want to see the characters like in full ultra wide resolution. I want everything on this game because like the game is so good, and I've been
beautiful.
I've been playing it through mostly for the the story. I've had the setting. I've had it on like it's not I'm not playing it on easy, so I'm not playing it on journo mode. I'm playing it one step down from the hard mode, whatever that is, to where it's still a challenge, but it's not like I'm not having to get angry and my fights aren't taking 30 minutes. But I'm gonna play it on whenever it comes out on PC. I'm gonna play it on like full. I want the full experience, and I'll get the better dresses because I'll do all the side missions.
Fair enough.
So,
how about you, Alessio? What are you playing?
Well, other than Outriders, I'm playing Wasteland 3, which is surprisingly good CRPG. It's also included with Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, I'd say just go ahead and download it, especially if you like games like Divinity Original Sin. It's very much in that vein, only with a lot of freedom, Reagan, and post-apocalyptic shenanigans. So
very nice.
It's a good game. It's such a good game.
Okay. I'd say that's
that's everything.
Bye, guys.
All right, later, guys. Bye.
Well, thank you for joining us, and next week.
Yeah, we'll be back.